going on, you guys? It's your boy Patrick, aka Addicted to Combat, back for the recap and quickly the betting results of UFC Vegas 64, which just wrapped up moments ago. Unfortunately, this is not a celebratory winning cigar. I did lose 1.61 units on tonight's event as a whole, all coming down to that main event, which I picked the wrong side of. Amanda Lemos beating Marina Rodriguez by round 3 TKO stoppage. Maybe a bit premature at first glance, but when you look at the body language of Marina Rodriguez, it probably was not going to get much better after that sequence. So more power to Amanda Lemos. Literally more power to her. I was not sleeping on her power potential in this fight at all. I just figured it had about a round or a round and a half timer on it before Marina Rodriguez would take over. That was not the case. So a pretty entertaining women's main event scheduled for 5 rounds once again. I know at the beginning of the quarter we had Yan Xiaonan versus Mackenzie Dern. Awesome back and forth 5-round fight there. Followed up by Viviane Araújo and Alexa Grasso. Awesome fight there as well. So I'm all for these women's main events. I know sometimes they don't get the respect they deserve, but so far all of these headliners have been very entertaining fights. And tonight as a whole was very entertaining. At UFC Vegas 64 we were left with 11 fights. My picks went 8-3 on those. 9 out of 11 of the fights tonight ended inside the distance by stoppage. 5 of those in round 1. 5 of those were submissions as well. The favorites, oddly enough, went 10-1. The only underdog that was coming through tonight was Amanda Lemos in the main event. So that did actually wear on my mind a bit when I saw that there were so many favorites that had come through. Up to that point, I said there's no way the favorites are going to sweep, but it was Marina Rodriguez. I was confident in her technique and her skill, but she was the lone favorite that was upset tonight. So if you bet the underdogs tonight, probably didn't end up going too well for you. If you bet, fight doesn't go to decision, it was probably a very good night for you. And I saw a lot of very sharp bettors with a lot of good props tonight as well. So my money line bets went 2-2. My props went 1-1. So betting wise, it was pretty much completely 50-50, but ending up minus 1.61 units in that. So going from the top, some of these picks I had, starting off with Mario Batista was the first piece of action. I really beat the line movement on this unintentionally. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, getting minus 235 on Mario Batista, putting 2.35 units to win 1. And if I would have known, he would have swelled up to a minus 300 favorites in the middle of the week, and then with Benito Lopez missing weight, it was swelling up all the way to minus 400. So it really slaughtered the line movement. I wish I would have taken advantage of that more, or maybe even played the unders in that fight. But it's a complete unknown when you have Benito Lopez coming in off of career change, off of being away from the octagon with injuries for over 3 years. You don't know how he's going to come back, and he looked okay in the beginning part of the fight, but the speed difference was apparent, and eventually how he was going to wear damage was evident there is at least like halfway through the first round. So I do regret on this card probably most not loading up more on Mario Batista, but he came through very easily getting that submission in the fight. So cashed on him for 1 unit. Moving on to my first underdog of the night, my only underdog was Mark Madsen. And this was a spot where I figured Mark Madsen's takedown defense and wrestling pedigree would actually, wear out Grant Dawson more than it did. I thought Madsen would put up more of a fight than he did. And Grant Dawson was able to secure those single leg takedowns, get the takedowns off the cage, and just wear out Mark Madsen, eventually getting that submission in round 3. So Grant Dawson, I've cashed in the past on him beating Leonardo Santos in round 3 at that final second. And man, I always have my eye on that round 3 prop for Grant Dawson. I just didn't think it was going to happen this time. Part of why I thought Mark Madsen had a chance to win more than his plus 195 money line would indicate was him being the fresher man in round 3 after wearing down Grant Dawson. None of that was true. Grant Dawson looking very impressive tonight. It's going to be interesting to see how Grant Dawson does against ranked competition moving forward that aren't 38 years old like Mark Madsen. So that was a loss there. Moving on to another piece of action I had was Miranda Maverick to win inside the distance against Shayna Young, and you can't even be mad at that. For plus 125, she definitely tried like hell in all rounds of that fight to secure the top position, hunt for chokes, or hunt for raining down strikes from full mount to end the fight. It just did not happen. Shayna Young ended up having just enough defense to survive each round until the timer hit. So lost 1.5 units there. That one would have definitely put us in the green for tonight if Shayna Young would have folded earlier in that fight at some point. So lost on that prop. The under 2.5 in the Derek Minner, Shayilan Norden Beck, that was something I probably should have loaded on more as well. Both of their records show a lot of finishes for and against them, and I had 1.5 units at minus 130 on that. Very easy cash. Obviously, there was some insider trading in the works. If you saw that, Shayla Norden-Beck ended up closing way more as a favorite than earlier in the week. Clearly, there was some sort of injury on the part of Derek Minner. His knee or his leg gave out very early in round 1, and within a minute, Shayla Norden-Beck was able to get that finish. So ending up with that under 2.5 cashing very easily, sweat-free. So again, one-on-one on props. Moving on to the other two money lines, I did have Neil Magny against Daniel Rodriguez winning that fight at even money. Back when this fight was scheduled 3 weeks ago, I ended up settling at minus 115, putting 2 units on Neil Magny to get this victory. And it was close, man. That was fight of the night. It was 1-1 going into round 3, in my opinion. Neil Magny definitely tasting and fearing some of the power coming his way from Daniel Rodriguez. But, the botched grappling and the attempts to take this into the clinch from Daniel Rodriguez really cost him in this fight, and Neil Magny ends up on top and ends up securing up that Darce choke and getting a late round 3 submission there. So that cashed for almost a couple units on that. So I was just down a little bit. I was down like a third of a unit going into the main event spot. So with 3 units on Marina Rodriguez at minus 205, that would have brought us into the green. But again, it was probably about 1-1 going into, it was either 0-2 for against Rodriguez or 1-1 going into round 3. And then she folded to the power of Lemos. Lemos caught her with a clean right hand, and it was a standing TKO stoppage. Again, at first glance, it looked like it was a quick stoppage, especially when you're kind of biased like I am and have money on it. But when you really watch the body language of Marina Rodriguez, she was out of it. She was turning away and not defending from any of the strikes against the cage coming her way. So I can see where the referee would have stopped that. It did not seem to be getting much better. So moving forward, Amanda Lemos is not just able to get those stoppages in rounds 1 or rounds 2. She can actually do that in round 3 as well. So these women are going to have to really take notice of her power moving forward. And she's so explosive and so quick with knocking her opponent down and just jumping on their back, getting a very good body lock, which she showed in round 2. So I'm a big fan of Amanda Lemos, and always have been. I just thought that she would fall apart as this fight went longer. So let me know in the comments how you guys did. I went minus 1.61 on the night. So not too happy about that, but I thought the bets and the reads were there, so not too disappointed in myself. But moving forward to the, I've got about 7 more fights out of the 14 for UFC 281 to research tonight. I'll have that full card breakdown out very soon, and I'll be able to point out some of the bets that I'll have made by the time that breakdown even comes out in the next couple days. Some scheduling notes for this upcoming week for the pay-per-view. I will have my live stream on Tuesday night instead of Wednesday night. Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central, I'll be having Brady. Everybody knows Brady from DFS by the Numbers and the MMA Engine. Very good handicapper, very long-term profitable guy, both from the fantasy side of things and the betting side of things. So I'm excited to finally chop it up with my guy Brady. I don't think we've ever broke down a fight together live, but we definitely respect each other's work, and I watch all of his content. He's just a very bright guy. So excited to have him on the stream on Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, leave a comment on how you guys did on the night. Hopefully you were in the green. Hopefully you landed some of those sneaky props that were definitely available to cash tonight with all of those finishes. Also, you guys, check out the description below. You will see the promo code Addicted to Combat 125 for BetUS Sportsbook, who I'm partnered with. They do have good lines, competitive lines on all sports. All I care about is mixed martial arts, as you know. And for the mixed martial arts side of things on BetUS, especially their props, I see a lot of kind of opened up lines on some of their props. You get additional value for a lot of the rounded method combos. Just the props alone, I see a lot of holes in their game there at BetUS that you can take advantage of, especially using my promo code. From $100 to $2,500, you get a 125% deposit match on the sportsbook when you sign up using my promo code. Free money, and there's a lot of opportunities to really get some extra value on BetUS. So check that out, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys very soon when the full card breakdown for UFC 281 drops. Cheers.